So you've recently taken up running, you've bought a t-shirt, shorts, leggings, sports socks from the local supermarket and a pair of trainers from an outlet such as Sports Direct, because trainers are trainers, aren't they? We'll take a look at this further after you've run the titles. Before we go any further, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the notification bell and subscribe to my channel. Okay, so you've been out and you've bought the gear and you've done a bit of running, you've completed a 9-week Couch to 5K course, you've made a whole load of new running buddies and you're out there 2 or 3 times a week and you're pounding the pavements and doing nice easy 5Ks, including a park run. And at those park runs you see some of the more experienced runners who are out there and they're wearing all sorts of other stuff, and you think, well, I wonder if I should be wearing that kind of stuff as well. And then your mates say, oh, have you entered this race or have you entered that race? And you say, well, no, I haven't. Well, you should, come along, come and join us on this race. So this is where running can go from being a cheap sport to costing you a considerable amount of money over the course of a year. Let's take a look. I've bought all sorts of things for my running, including leggings and singlets, but not t-shirts, because I've gained so many t-shirts from all the races that I've taken part in, so I'll probably never have to buy another t-shirt ever again. But there are all sorts of other things, hats and calf guards and gloves, things to keep you warmer and drier during the winter. I mean, I have a summer wardrobe, I have a winter wardrobe. It's got ridiculous now. I've got 2 drawers in my chest of drawers that have nothing in them apart from running kit. It just got so much stuff. Some of the stuff I've found is very necessary for me, and I will come to that in a minute. Other things are nice little extras, but the list is practically endless and you can end up spending a fortune. So there are the hats, and I usually have a couple of different hats. So I've got a peaked hat like this one, which is good in the summer to keep the sun off my head. But it's also very useful in the winter if it's raining, because I have a jacket with a hood. Now if I have the hood up, then the hood tends to fall over my eyes and I can't see where I'm going. But if I wear the cap, bring the hood up, and the peak stops the hood from falling down. So it works absolutely brilliantly for me. On those cold winter nights or even the mornings, you might want a woolly hat, something like this one. Yeah, okay, I look a bit of an idiot, but it's bright yellow and I'm going to be seen, and it's keeping my head, my ears warm. A couple of other things which are necessities to me. A few years ago I had a problem with my right calf muscles, and it kept me off running for a good amount of time. And it was only through having regular sport massages and working at home to self-massage and taking it easy on my runs that I did manage to get back up to any distance. I was really struggling to get over 3 miles. But one of the things that did help me were calf guards, these things. So I put those on, and they've helped enormously just to support the muscles. So for me, it's worth paying the 20 to 30 pound, whatever these cost now. I've had these a good while, to help to keep me injury free. Another item that helps to keep me injury free are my socks. Now, I tend to suffer from plantar fasciitis, and for those of you who aren't aware of what that is, the plantar is a tendon that runs from the midfoot to the heel, and that can overstretch and become painful. And for me, that means that the morning after I've done a run in the evening, I can't put my heel down on the floor. I have to walk to the bathroom on my toes because it is just too painful to put my heels down. There are a few things I've managed to do to help with that. Some stretching exercises, for instance. But one of the other things is a pair of socks. Now, these are plantar fasciitis relief socks. This proper sports socks for runners from a company called Feetures. And these aren't cheap. These are like £25 for a pair. But they're pretty good. I bought a pair in January last year and to try out, and they were really good. So I bought another pair, which unfortunately I've lost somewhere and I can't find. So I've just had to get another pair now. But these are great for me. Now, it doesn't eliminate my PF, but it really, really helps. For you ladies, of course, there are additional items like sports bras, and I know those aren't cheap, but from what I've been told, they're worth their weight in gold. The other thing is proper sports underwear from companies like Runderwear. I'm not going to show them to you, okay, but they are very good. They're seamless, no chafing, absolutely brilliant. So when you're out on those long runs, you can be sure that you can do a long run, even get wet out in the rain, and you're not going to suffer from chafing, and it's worth its weight in gold. And again, they don't come cheap. Then we have our wearable gadgets. I mean, everybody wants to carry their phone with them, so many people will have something like this to put their phone in, and they can record their runs on whatever app they want, whether it be Strava or Map My Run, for instance. All good apps that will do the job and will give you a load of information. For me, I just find it's a bit bulky. I don't want to carry this thing around on my arm. No, that's not for me. However, in saying that, if I am out training and doing long runs at night in the cold and wet, I will take my phone with me for emergencies, because you never know what's going to happen. You know, you could run off a curb and trip and having an accident that way, whatever. There's all sorts of things that could happen, and having your phone with you could really help. It could be a lifeline for you. But if you didn't want to go that way, then there's always the sports watch. I mean, I use a Polar with heart rate monitoring, but there's all sorts of watches around, from the likes of Garmin, for instance, and Sunto, but they're not cheap, you know, and very often you'll pay a couple of £100 at least for something like that, you know, or your Apple Watch. You know, you're talking a lot of money. You can pay between £200 and £600 for a sports watch easily, and it depends what you want in a sports watch. Do you want something that's just going to give you the basic information, like give you a map of where you've run, so it has a GPS chip in it, tells you what your pace is, what your distance was? Do you just want something basic like that, or do you want something that's going to have a map on it so that you can just follow the map? Or do you want something where you can store music onto the phone, and with Bluetooth earbuds you can listen to music? That's not for everybody. It's not for me. I very rarely listen to music whilst I'm running, but I know a lot of people who do, you know, and that's important to them. But of course you're going to pay more for that kind of tech. It's all down to you. So now you've done 5k, 10k, and you're moving up in distance, you may want to start carrying more things with you. You might have car keys and your phone, and you might want to take a bit of water with you, and anything else. And so you're going to need some way of carrying it. And there are various ways of doing that. and many people wear something around their waist. It's like a belt fitting with pockets, and something like this. I mean, I got this from online from a company called Wish, and it's quite surprising at how much it will carry. And it's got 2 zip pockets, one on either side, and it fits easily around the waist. It's quite comfy. I've worn it at park runs. I've not really worn it for anything else, but I haven't noticed much in the way of bouncing. But then I haven't really put anything heavy in it. It's just been my car keys and my phone, really. But if you're going to start getting into some serious distance running, then you may want to buy a vest, something like this. This is from Aonijie, and it's full of pockets. It's got pockets all down the front, it's got pockets all down the sides. Some are zip, some are just elastic opening, pockets around the back. Got a huge pocket in the back where you could fit a water bladder if you wanted to. This even comes with a foil blanket in case you get cold, and all for about £25, I think it was. So you can buy them fairly cheaply. If you don't want to buy a water bladder to go in the back, then you can buy these bottles. This is a 500ml bottle, and with an extended tube piece here and mouth bit. And they fit into the pockets in the front, so I could carry 2 of these, and that's more than ample for most runs, whether you're out there doing a marathon or an ultra. And if you're on any of those races, there's going to be water stops or aid stations anyway where you can top up. But something like that would be quite good. But if you didn't want to go as far as that, then I also have this. This is another waist belt. This is called the naked band, and it's got a bit of stretch in it. But when you order these, you have to buy them in. You have to state what your waist size is, and you have to be pretty accurate with that. But this is just like an open top. There's no zips on this, but nothing comes out. I can put one of those 500ml bottles in, or I quite often put 2 250ml bottles in. I can put my phone in there, my keys in there. I even carry my GoPro camera on a little selfie stick and put that in there for when I'm filming races. And this is really good. It's quite expensive though. I can't remember what it was, but it must be close to £40. But I'll put links to all of these items in the description box below, and then you can check them out yourself. Now, if you're going to be running at night, another essential is to wear some kind of light. You want people to see you, and you also need to be able to see where you're going. Some streets can be pretty dark, and you don't want to run off a curb that you don't see. And I know before now I've actually run across a road and not seen a speed bump, and I scuffed it and did my Superman act flying across the road and practically landed flat on my face. So wearing something like this, which is a chest mounted lamp, and if I can put it on here, see, that's pretty bright, and it's got 3 settings, and then the one that goes on your back has flashing red lights so that people behind can see where you're going. I'm going to turn this off. There we go. So something like that is really good. If you're a trail runner or an ultra runner, then you're not going to be able to wear something like that, probably because you're going to be wearing the vest, and so it's going to be difficult to put this over. So you might want a head torch rather than the chest lamp. Some people don't want to do that, and they have things like these that just go around your ankles or your wrists. and then you turn them on and it's a solid red light, and press it again and it flashes. A couple of those, you know, one on each wrist or one on each ankle, and you're going to be seen. But it's all about being safe, and we've got to be safe out there. Now, earlier I did talk about injuries, and I have a couple of items which I've bought which have helped me. And if you're new to running, and you may suffer from the odd little injury here and there, shin splints or pulled calf muscles, Achilles tendonitis, all sorts of things, you'll probably end up with everything over the course of your running. And people will say to you, you need to go out and buy a foam roller. That's what this is. This is a foam roller. Okay, they come in various sizes. They come in various sort of textures as well. Some are solid. This one's hollow, as you can see. Some are solid foam. Some are smooth. Some have got the ridges on, like this one. You can pick these up as cheaply as £10. Okay, it's not going to break the bank, and they're very useful. You can spend a fortune. I think I saw one that's got built-in vibration, and I think it cost something like about £120. And I thought, I'm not paying £120. I've since seen a guy who's been using one of those recently, and he absolutely swears by it and thinks it's one of the best things he's ever bought. Each to their own. I'm not prepared to pay £120. I don't do enough competitive racing to warrant paying that kind of money. This guy does. You know, he's out there all the time. He's out there every day clocking up 15-20 miles. But that's not me. So it's probably worth it to him, but it isn't worth it to me. Another thing is this spiky little ball. It doesn't have to be this spiky little ball. It could be any ball. You could just have a tennis ball or any kind of ball, really. Now, you're probably thinking, what the heck are you going to use that for? Well, I use it on my feet. And so I'll put it on the floor, and I'll put my foot on top of it, and I will run my foot backwards and forwards like that. And that helps my plantar fasciitis. But you can use it up against a door, put it between you and the door on a shoulder or your back or your thigh, and move your body up and down. You can take it to work if you need to. If you need to do some self-massage at work, take it to work with you. It'd be absolutely brilliant. But you don't need one of these. As I say, you can just make do with an ordinary ball. And in fact, you don't really need one of these. You can just get a large pop bottle, fill it with water, and use that. Even better would be to freeze it, because it'll make it harder. But also, if you're using it on an injured muscle, the cold is going to help it. Then finally, races. Your mates are going to try to persuade you to enter your races. There'll be nice little 5Ks, then it'll be 10Ks, half marathons. Your 5K races will be maybe £10, £15, maybe something like that. But it seems that the further the distance, the more money it's going to cost. 10Ks will cost £20, £25 possibly. I think the average price of a half marathon is about £32. I know quite a lot of trail half marathons now which are up in the £40-odd marks. You'll easily pay £60 for a marathon. So it's not cheap. If you run 2 marathons a year, that's £120. Okay, or the same if you're going to be running 4 half marathons in a year. There've been times when I've run 8 or 9 half marathons in a year. I even ran 4 half marathons in 4 weeks. So that isn't cheap. And then also, if you're doing marathons that are a long way from home, you've got transport costs, you've got hotel costs, possibly. If it's an early start, you know, you don't want to be having to be up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to drive off to somewhere and have to drive for 3 or 4 hours before you're starting a race. So sometimes it's a good idea to have some form of accommodation to stay in on the night before, but it all costs money. So who said that running was a cheap sport? Because that's what it seems to be when we start and we think, I want something that's cheap. I've got a t-shirt, I've got shorts, I've got an old pair of trainers, you know, I can just go out and I can do it. And yes, you absolutely can. But there are all these other factors and you just seem to get caught up with what everybody else is doing, and it can cost you quite a lot of money. But it's up to you how much you want to spend. And if you're like me and you don't smoke, you don't drink much, I certainly don't gamble, it's one of my pleasures in life and I can afford to do it, so this is my thing, and this is what I do. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to hit the little bell to receive notifications of the next time I upload a video. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to my channel. It's very important that you subscribe to my channel, and come run with me next time.